Welcome to Dr. Joe Unplugged. The topics discussed in this podcast will reflect my opinions and are not in any way to be regarded as medical advice. It is the season of Black Friday sales. It's interesting. Black Friday hails from the USA, the day after Thanksgiving, which we've had very recently. And like a lot of American trends, if you like, they do tend to spread around the world. It is interesting. Australians who can remember back more than maybe 10, 15 years, one does lose track of time. There was no such thing as Black Friday sales in Australia, certainly when I was a kid, and really not until, and look, if somebody knows the exact dates they started, please put it in the in the comments. My guess would be late 2000s, maybe somewhere in the 2010s. But look, hey, people like a bargain, I get it. And it's gone to a stage where you get Black Friday offers at the beginning of November, get in first. And yes, it is the downhill run to Christmas. And I think, from what I gather, that the Black Friday sales now exceed the Boxing Day sales. You might as well get in and buy bargains before rather than after Christmas. I do get it. And everybody's got their offers. And this is advertising, and it's absolutely fine. So interesting article, which my attention was drawn to, and as always, we'll put it in the description. It may be paywalled. I'm not sure if it is. Apologies, not much we can do about it. But a swimwear company has done, surprise, surprise, Black Friday deal. They're offering a discount on their swimwear. I'm not going to give them a plug. It's female swimwear, so again, but I don't particularly want to give them a plug. But they're offering 30% off. Good eye. And they've done advertising on, in inverted commas, the dreaded social media. Surprise, surprise. And the image is of a woman lying on her abdomen, on her tummy, and she is topless, which is interesting given that you're trying to sell bathers, and certainly there are no bathers in the upper half of the body. But yes, you can only see her back, so it is quite okay. We don't need to get excited about that. But on her back is like a stencil of the name of the brand. There's a line about the percentage off and a code. It'll get people's attention, I suspect. But it's pale on the skin, so it makes it look like the area of the writing, in fact, that's exactly how it is, has got less pigment than the surrounding skin. Some of the surrounding skin looks a little bit more tanned, coloured, whatever word one likes to use, than the area with the writing. All right, point made. You can buy some bathers and they're on special. That ought to be the end of it. And to be honest, I would not have come across this. It's not my genre. It's not going to come up on my feed. I am not the target market. I suspect, for those people who are, it will. But the point that I'm getting to here, and you're probably all wondering, where am I going with this, is big public health just cannot let it be. They have to buy in. And to be fair, yes, I have bitten and have taken the bait on this one because I think there's a deeper point here. According to a spokesperson, I'm not going to give a name and I'm not going to give the organisation, but it's one of these public health bodies. The use of the image was worrying. It's concerning to see images like this targeting people who might not realise that it's a generated image. Well, of course it's a generated image. Nobody's going around with stenciling on their back, on their skin for promoting some brand. Maybe on your T-shirt, but certainly not on your back, and certainly not on a woman. Hello? We don't want people to aspire to that sort of look. Well, I don't think anybody aspires to have advertising on their back, unless they're paid a huge amount of money, and even then I think it's questionable because where are you going to go? Like, you're not going to walk down the main street of cities with a bare back so people can read it. Maybe if you had a sandwich board, possibly. Maybe if it's on your T-shirt, again, possibly. So it's a non-issue. And, apologies to people who are going to say, well, if it's a non-issue, why am I talking about it? I'm talking about it because of this nannying attitude that assumes every single person is a complete and utter idiot. Nobody out there is at all possible of figuring out that, number one, this is an ad. Number two, it's obviously either it's an AI-generated image or it's been photoshopped, and therefore the writing is not on this person's back. It's been put in there artificially. Hello? But no, everybody's going to look at this and going to go out and immediately want to get sunburnt. That is actually quite demeaning. Now, some people do spend too much time in the sun. It's not a great thing. We do need some sunshine. And one of the problems with the Sun Smart message, and it's important, that summer is coming up in the southern hemisphere, and no, you don't want to go out and get sunburnt. However, we do need some sunshine because it provides vitamin D. And back in the very old days, people would get a condition called rickets, which affected the bones. They didn't have enough vitamin D. It affected their bones. They worked in coal mines all day. So pretty much everything with the human body, too much is a problem, too little is also a problem. There is a sweet spot. We do not have to avoid all sunshine at all costs. And yes, in summertime, because we're out and about, yes, we may get a little bit of additional colouring on our skin. We're not getting burned. It's not that big a deal. There is a difference between a palish, if you like, tan and getting burned. And there's a lot of work that does show that it really does take somewhat more severe sun damage to contribute towards cancer or continuous over an extended period of time. So again, I really want to make this point very, very clear. We don't want to go out and get sunburned, but we can spend a little bit of time in the sun and particularly in summer, it's going to make us feel better. Most people feel a little bit better about the world when there's some blue sky and sunshine. It's just the nature of human beings. But this assumption that because people have seen an image, that number one, they can't work out what it is, and it's pretty obvious. I mean, it is that obvious. And the target market, which is going to be younger people, if anybody's going to figure this out, it's going to be them. They are more tech savvy than people sitting in ivory towers by the proverbial country mile. So they're going to get it. Nobody, in my opinion, but nobody is going to change their behaviours because of seeing this image. With the one exception, maybe if they want a discount on this particular brand of swimwear and it's the one that they like, they might avail themselves of the opportunity. Whether anybody who isn't familiar with or knows this brand is going to buy it, maybe it encourages them to go and look on the site and decide whether or not they're going to buy it. Again, that's an individual decision that they can make, and they are capable of making it. So I come back to the fundamental issue here, which is why, and we're seeing this pretty much across the globe, gotten quite big in America. It's bubbling under the surface, I think, in Australia, and it's bubbling under the surface a little bit in the UK from what I'm hearing, that there is a diminished trust in what authorities say about health. And part of the reason for that is this all or none approach and this treating people like they are idiots. That they can't tell that it's an ad, that they can't tell that it's generated, and that because of that, they're going to go out and get themselves sunburned. Now, if somebody does, and I'd be surprised, but look, am I going to sit here and say that it is totally impossible that there is one person out there who might be inspired to go out and get sunburned because they've seen an AI or Photoshop generated image? There's nothing you can do to help that person. Not putting this image up is not going to help them. They're just going to do what they want to do anyway. So respect is a two-way street. There's a lot of bemoaning and hand-wringing that people no longer have respect for health authorities. And some people do, but the percentages have certainly gone down, and some events at the start of the decade have certainly contributed significantly to that. And no, it's not because of misinformation. It's not because of disinformation. It's because it's all their own work. People have seen what's been said and they've seen what's happened in the real world and they've formed their own conclusions. How about a much simpler message which shows respect for people that says, we don't think it's good to get sunburned, and there are reasons for that, including increasing your risk of sun cancer. So don't get sunburned. Pretty simple message. Much more effective. Treats people like they have some capacity to think for themselves and to make their own decisions. So, Black Friday will come and go for this year. I suspect the sales will go on for a little bit longer, and then we'll get ourselves into the pre-Christmas sales, and then the post-Christmas sales, and then the New Year sales. And so it will go until the Easter stuff starts to appear in the shops, which unfortunately these days tends to be 2 days after Christmas. But anyway, that's a whole other story. So look, what's the bottom line? Be sensible in summer, in the sunshine. Yes, obviously. But also, let's just, maybe for those of you, and you're probably not, but just in case anybody in any of these big public health institutions or organisations is listening, how about making it early New Year's resolution to treat the public with a little bit of respect and treat them as actually they have the capacity to think for themselves and make their own decisions. And yes, maybe some of those decisions will be wrong. Maybe it is. Nobody's going to get everything right 100% of the time. But show people some respect, show them some faith. And you know what? If you do, they may well be more inclined to respect what you have to say. Thanks for listening to Dr. Joe Unplugged. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, share, and consider subscribing. Tell your friends. If there are topics you'd like to see covered, be in touch through the chat or email info@drjoe.net.au. We'll be uploading new content each Monday, and soon we'll be putting these videos out on X. You can follow me there at Dr. Joe's DIY Health.